To our show here tonight. Welcome to We'll Sing and We'll Shout. I am your host, Steve Hansen. We're live here out of beautiful Provo, Utah. And I've got Sister Cheryl on from Dublin, Ohio. We're going to be doing segment, is this 23 maybe?
I think
Segment
so.
23 of Cheryl's Boyfriend Countdown. She actually discovered another one that she'll be talking about tonight. So I don't know
That
what the
I've
total.
forgotten.
I don't know what the total looks like. You're closing in
I,
on
I
60? I
think
don't know
we're
what you're.
closing in on 60, yeah, because there's quite
Yeah,
a few. Like last week, I discovered that Nate that took me rabbit hunting. I
right.
think I actually have a picture at a dance with him too. So I've got to get that scrapbook from Bellevue so that I can start like putting pictures up of these guys that I'm talking about, so people know I'm not just making up names.
Right, right. Well, there might have been a total of 60 girls that I have looked at during my life. I'm not sure, but
As
but
far as dating all of them.
but I certainly didn't date that many. But I'm sure there were 60 girls that I might have wanted to date.
Right.
But anyway, I could never keep up with you. But that's okay. Uh, I beat you in the kid department, so I
Yeah,
won
you
something.
said you doubled me.
Yeah, I doubled your action there. So
Mhm.
I guess when it comes to really making it happen, I was there. So
Yes.
um,
I felt bad when I like had to stop with Annie because you know how in the LDS thing, there's that whole Saturday's Warrior thing where Emily gets left behind or
all
whatever,
right.
the little girl. So I felt bad that I was 39 when I had Annie though. And
Right.
but then I realized that President Hinckley had 5 children and I'm like, all right, well, if the prophet can get away with 5 kids, then I can too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, five's a pretty solid performance. You don't have anything to shy away from there. So,
Yep.
Heidi and I never expected that we would have 10 children. That was never in the game. That was never the plan. But
Right.
somehow they just came, they just like found their way in there.
Yep.
And we would make a conscious effort. We weren't destroying anything, but we were making a conscious effort to not have this happen.
Right.
And yet somehow it just kept happening. And one of us was always, pushing the envelope, either, a little too soon or a little too late or whatever.
Right.
And I can't remember whether it was me or her, but one of us was always, a little too
Uh-huh.
anxious about things.
Yeah.
So anyway, without further ado, we'll let you move ahead with segment 23.
All right. Well, this one is the one of the two that I remembered last week when we were talking about Rick's College that just kind of popped into my head. And actually, it took me 2 or 3 days past the segment to even remember this guy's name. Kind of embarrassed about that. I did remember his first name was Jason, but I could not come up with his last name. But I did finally come up with it. It's Gundlock, Gundlock or CH, maybe.
Okay.
And I met Jason like pretty much when I arrived at Rick's College. I mean, real early. And he was running for like student council of Rick's College, president, student president, body, whatever. Anyway,
Mhm.
he was kind of a political fella. He was a return missionary. So, the young girls always had their sights on return missionaries. And just, he was definitely a politician going around glad handing everybody and just, he was kind of tall and good looking and he wasn't any Brett Butler, but he was, he was a good looking fella, kind of had sandy blonde hair and a nice build. So, I would just flirt with him and I'd see him, once, I think he ate in the cafeteria with us. And so I'd see him, once every other day or something, kind of flirt with him. So he finally did ask me out. And I cannot recall. It was probably a dance because Rick's had dances every weekend. So I'm guessing we went to a dance together, or a movie or something.
That was even true during the summer times. Well, I mean, I was only up there during the summer of '85, but
Hmm.
there was a dance. I wouldn't say every night, but there were dances a
Every
lot up
weekend.
there.
Every
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. There was just something always like that going on, which was fantastic if you were interested in dancing with and meeting girls. So,
Right.
which I very much was. So,
And I have a fun story about that when I was in Academy Players the year before you were there. So August of '84, I was there. I was there May through August of '84 doing this summer theater. gig that I auditioned for and got. So there were about 20 to 25 students that were there throughout the summer, and we did 5 different plays, and it was the best summer of my life. I had so much
Mm.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
But we opened Cinderella, and Cinderella had the most beautiful costumes. My favorite show I've ever done because I got to wear hoop skirts and I had 4 different gorgeous costumes. And so my favorite costume was this one I wore to be like, I was supposed to be like a servant or a cook or something like that. Anyway, it had red and white stripes and it had the hoop skirt and it had real pretty puffy white sleeves. And I just loved it. So we talked to Sister Whitfield, who was our costuming teacher, and she did all these costumes for Academy players. And we asked her if we could wear our ballroom costumes and stuff over to the dance at Rick's College that night. So after our play got over, like the whole cast went over in costume to the dance. And it was so much fun. Like when we came in there, everyone's just staring at us like, what the heck is this?
Right.
Halloween time here with all these people in these big hoop skirts and stuff. And the guys were in their like Revolutionary War time period garb. So it was pretty funny. But anyway, that was a really fun experience I had at the dance. But see, that was in the summer. That would have
Right.
been probably end of June. And they were having dances all summer long. So even though it was just summer school and there weren't very many, see, nowadays, Rick's College goes year round.
Yeah.
They have like that system where it's 2 months and you might go winter and summer or summer and fall or fall and winter. They have that. So it's that thing's cranking, all
It,
year. But when I
I had
was
a,
there, summertime was pretty sparse. It
I
was
had,
just,
yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of fun there that summer of '85.
yeah.
That was a great place to hang out. So,
All right. So I probably went to a dance with Jason, is I'm guessing what we did that night. And like I told you last week, um, when you're in your freshman year at Rick's College, you have to live at the dormitories. They don't give you a choice. So
right.
I'm at the dormitory, and the dormitory, like where you enter, is like this big room, and the dorm mom lives like right behind a door just off of this big room, and it's kind of a room where you can gather and watch TV with friends or whatever, like a big lounge kind of thing. So you enter into the lounge, and then from the lounge, you go in out another door into a courtyard, and then you go up to your apartment. So there's this courtyard with all these windows overlooking it. But this is all um, you can't get out of the courtyard unless you come back through that lounge. There's no way to get into the courtyard from outside. You have to come into the lounge. So, and they had this 11 o'clock curfew on the weekdays and 1 o'clock curfew on the weekends. So I happened to miss the curfew. So it's probably 1:10 by the time I got there. And if you get there past 1 o'clock, you have to wake up the dorm mom and get her to unlock the door for you. And then you are in trouble and get these demerits, or I don't know what they did. But so I
Right.
wasn't going to wake up the dorm mom. So I just spent the night with Jason Gunlock.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just like it's kind of stupid that they put you in that situation where you're
Yeah.
either going to get in trouble or you got to stay out all night. I mean, how
Right.
dumb is that?
Yeah.
So I just
I
ended up
don't
staying over at his apartment that night.
I don't think the summer of '85, like, um well, I wasn't in the dorms, of course. I was staying up there at Chaparral.
Right.
And so there wasn't really anybody,
There's no one watching.
keeping
Right.
track of us that much. Not that we had any place to go or, crazy girls to hang out with all night. Although I had, anyway, yeah, go ahead.
So the next year when I lived at Baronessa, it was much like there was a lady that ran the place, but her apartment was way out front and our when we were way in the back, and you could easily sneak in after curfew at Baronessa. But in the
Mhm.
dorms, you can't. You can't climb the fence. It's well, like 8 foot, 10 foot tall. There's no getting over it. So I was just like, instead of getting in trouble, I'm just going to stay out all night. So I went and stayed at his apartment. Fortunately, he lived at one of those other apartments like Chaparral or whatever that's not being watched very much.
Right.
Um, so because my roommate Melinda, and I think this was probably after that, my roommate Melinda had her boyfriend spend the night in our dorm. There were three bedrooms in our, it was like
Yeah,
it
yeah, I
was
remember
like an
that.
apartment. Yeah.
I
And
meant not
Melinda,
not that I remember the actual, but I remember you telling me about that at
yeah,
the time. Yeah.
Melinda Fly. She was from like West Virginia or something. She had a real funny, she had a real funny accent.
Yeah.
Melinda Fly told me that we needed to watch out and keep our cuda hairs off the toilet.
Okay.
I'd never heard them called cuda hairs before, but that's what she called 'em. Oh my gosh,
Okay.
that girl was funny. So she
Uh,
had this boyfriend over and spent the night in our dormitory. And the
mhm.
dorm mom came in up in the morning, and my room was right across the hall from Melinda's. Me and Kristen was my roommate at the time, and we hear like all this like yelling in the hallway. I'm like, what
Oh,
the heck? Her boyfriend James was in there, and the dorm mom caught them. And so I think it was a weekend. So the girl that would have usually been sleeping in that room with Melinda had gone home for the weekend. She was from Utah, and I think she'd gone home for the weekend. So
mhm.
Melinda invited James to stay in her place. And after James left, she blamed me for telling the dorm mom.
Oh,
I had no clue James was in there, or I probably would have said, this might not be too smart, Melinda.
yeah,
But I didn't know anything about it until I heard the yelling in the hallway in the morning. And then I got blamed for telling on her, which I did not do. So that was kind of irritating.
right.
But and then what's interesting is they took him before some court or something, at Rick's. Everything's always so
Okay.
serious there. And Melinda got sent home to
Yeah,
Virginia,
yeah,
and
I could
James
see that.
got to stay.
Oh,
Yeah. So what the heck is that
how
double
d-
standard?
how does that work? Yeah,
James's dad was a state president or something and pulled some strings, and he got to stay, and Melinda got sent home.
that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense there, but
No.
maybe there's things we don't know, but it doesn't sound very good.
So that was the last I saw Melinda Fly. Off she went to Virginia.
Right.
But
Hmm.
anyways, but I could have gotten in that trouble. If people would have known I spent the night with him, I could have
Oh,
gotten in the same trouble.
and kicked and sent home. Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody knew, thank goodness, except
Right.
for Jason Gunlock and me.
Right.
So I stayed with him at his apartment, and I didn't want to come home like right when they opened the door, which was like 6 a.m. or something. So I think I stayed with him until like 10 o'clock in the morning. And then he
Yeah.
took me home, and I went to the dormitory and ate. I mean, I went up to the cafeteria and ate, and then I just kind of slipped in, with the other girls.
Yeah.
But if I'd have been there right at 6, she'd have known.
Right.
She stayed out all night. But so then I had another date with Jason, which ended up being harvesting potatoes up in, like I said, Ashton area. It was north. I
Right.
know it was north of Rexburg. And so we had to get up super early. I think I had to be up there at like 5 a.m. or some ridiculous thing. And I sat in his truck, and he hopped in and out and did stuff with the potato harvest. And it was pretty boring and cold.
Yeah. He's impressing you with what your life might be like if you married him. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, me and the
It's like,
potato harvest. So, I've seen enough harvests, but I wasn't usually running the combine.
right.
Um, so that
One
wasn't very
time,
fun.
yeah. One time I had Julie Byler come over and help me milk the cows, and she had kind of grown up, not like on a farm, but she had grown up around the farm and had been involved with all that kind of stuff enough that she really wasn't that impressed.
Right.
But when I took Karen Magyar out there at Magyar, she was like, she's a city girl. She was like, wow, this is just like the coolest thing.
Aw,
Um,
that's
you know
cute.
who else really loved that whole farm thing was Kurt, Dobie's cousin there.
Oh, Kurt.
When he
Yeah.
came over one time, he just thought this was the coolest thing
Right.
that I had all these cows and was milking them and the whole 9 yards. But
I wonder whatever happened to her. Whatever happened to him? You know what? I just called Dobie the other day because I was having trouble with my toilet, and Dobie's a plumber, and I was thinking of calling this plumber that put our stuff in Bellevue, like put all our plumbing in Bellevue and Oak Harbor. His name's Bill Roofing.
oh,
But I think I still owe Bill money, so I didn't want to call him. So I thought,
yeah.
what other plumber do I know? I'm like, Toby, he's a plumber. So I called
You should
him.
get your contractor paid. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Well, He's the one that told me. I mean, I would just pay him big lumps of money at a time. Like I'd pay him $2,000 at a time. And
Okay.
he's like, okay, I'll get the bill all together and I'll give it to you. And he just never did that. So,
No.
and then one other time when I talked to him, he's like, I think you owe me money. I'm like, well, send me the bill, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
he never took care of that. So it wasn't really my fault, but I didn't want to remind him about it.
It, it is one of the things you got to take care of as a contractor. You got to get your invoices out. If you don't
Yeah.
invoice people, they tend not to pay you.
Right.
Now, some people will actually, like, hey, I need to get you paid, or how much they owe you, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll get your invoice out. But it is one of the challenges. You gotta invoice people if you want them to pay
I
you.
think I was pretty
And
close. I paid him, like I said, $2,000 at a time. And he put in a bathroom for us in Oak Harbor and in Bellevue. I think he put in the plumbing for our living room fireplace because we needed a gas line there. And then I think he put in my tub. But
right,
anyway, I paid him pretty well. I mean, if it had been like a lot, he probably would have got me invoiced, but he didn't.
yeah.
So Jason
I
and I
dated.
did the potato harvest, and after that, eh, he had to run for president of the Ricks College or whatever. He got busy, and we just didn't really. I didn't
Right,
really pursue him, and he didn't really pursue me. So we'd see each other on campus and say hi, but
yeah,
that was about it.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, that one girl that I dated at summer vacation. Well, I dated two girls, but the one I dated first, the one I met at Wendy's, I won't throw her name out here tonight because I'm just going to say some things here. But I dated girls back in Ohio,
Hmm.
Mormon LDS girls, some Catholic girls, some Lutheran girls, a few others here and there. But and maybe it was because this was her first summer away from school, the first time away from home. I don't know, but this girl, like, she was the most dangerous girl I ever dated, and
Right.
she was just ready for action,
Right.
and it was a lot more than anything that I was ready to deal with. And I really liked her, and I liked hanging
Yeah.
out with her, but I just wasn't ready to. I was trying to get ready to go on a mission, not
Right.
not
Yeah.
get somebody pregnant and get married.
Right. Yep.
And she was just like your friend there from West Virginia or whatever. um
Melinda.
she was just ready for action, and I had to, even though I liked her, I had to just like back away from her and date some other girls, because it's like, girl, you're just you're moving a little too fast for me.
Right.
So
You know what I
anyway,
was disappointed in when I went to Rick's College? Before you go to school at an LDS school, you have an interview with your bishop, and your bishop asks you if you will keep the standards of the church. And, it's almost like a temple recommend interview kind of thing.
yeah, very much so.
And of course, I took that very seriously. So I'm like, yes, of course, I'll, except for that one night when I broke the dorm rules. But um, for the most part, yeah, yeah, I'm going to be doing that stuff. And so I get to Rick's College, and I had three roommates who were pretty churchy, like I was. And then I had three roommates that were partiers that would go
Right,
out on the weekend and get drunk and come home drunk and like puking and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. Didn't these girls have the interview with the bishop too? Did they
right.
just like blow crap
Just
up? And yeah,
just
it
lie.
just,
Yeah,
yeah, just lie. It made me
yeah.
so angry. Like, Melinda was obviously having sex with James, and then there was this other one named Sue from Malibu. She was so
Sue,
funny.
Sue from
Sue,
Malibu.
she was very tall, and she had
uh,
this like goofy looking hair that was kind of like I don't know, it was very fluffy, and but she would get up 2 hours before class to get ready because
all
she
right.
had all this rigmarole she had to go through to look perfect to step out the door. Um,
Well, I
and
have
then
to admit,
there.
it takes me a little time to get this all pulled together before my live. I mean,
Me and Lonnie would just laugh because Lonnie and I were both the oldest of a whole bunch of kids, and we
right,
would share clothes because fortunately we were the same size. But but we would just laugh at these ridiculous girls that would take hours to get ready. We'd get up and just run off to class. We'd throw on some pants, and I don't think you were you allowed to wear pants. You were allowed to wear pants then, but it had to be like corduroys or nice pants. You could not wear jeans on campus when I was there.
mm-hmm,
Now you can.
right.
But back then, girls mostly wore dresses. I think for a while there, they did make you wear dresses. And I think, when I got there, all of a sudden you could wear pants. But
Now you can go sleeveless to church, with the
I
new
know, isn't
garments.
that crazy? With the new
It is, and
garments.
I don't know. It's kind of 50-50, but there's enough of that going on in the ward And I'm just like, I'm not ready for that much arm when I go to
I
church.
know, right?
I mean, to see it around the neighborhood, mowing the front lawn or whatever, whatever. That doesn't
Right.
bother me. But
But
when I
at
go to
church,
church, I just don't need to see that much arm. But maybe
right.
that's just me. Maybe I need to come with my cutoff, and
There you
cut
come
off
in your
some of
wife
my
beater.
cut off some of my button down shirts and have my tie on and
Right.
my shoulders hanging out. So it's the new LDS look, I guess.
That's right.
So
That's what
my
we're
little
looking
friend
for.
Christy Martin there. One of the things that so impressed me about her, she was the youngest of, I don't know, 6 or 7 kids, maybe. But whenever she would come to church activities, she would just always have a dress on.
Right.
Or she'd be dressed up like that, and that was just something her parents were having her do, I'm sure.
Right.
But she just always looked so, I don't
Put
know,
together.
she always looked so put together.
Right.
And it's one of the things that made her really attractive was just how put together she looked all the time. And if she'd come to church with some, shoulderless thing or something, it
Mm-hmm.
would just been looked so out of place.
Right.
So that's just kind of my standard. What did I say? I said I meant Christy Martin.
You said
Did I say
Christy
Christy
Martin.
Martin? Okay.
That was what you said.
I got too many Christies going on, um, but yeah, she just always seemed so put together, and it almost, in some ways, it felt a little intimidating. Like, this girl's just too good for me. Like, she's just she's just so
Right.
perfect, and I don't know that I'm up to this standard, but I sure do respect it. So,
Right.
but anyway, all right.
Well, that's
Well,
good.
hey, that was a good story. A lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
Um, so tomorrow night, let's see. I was talking about trying to get a hold of Kim for tomorrow night.
Oh, sure.
Let me see if I can get that figured out. But anyway, what's who you thinking about for next week?
Well, let
Are
me.
you still
I
figuring that
got my
out?
list across the way here, so let me go look. And then Friday. No, what is the 24th? What day is the 24th? Is that Friday?
That's Friday.
That's Pioneer Day, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we got to do the thing about us being related to a whole bunch of pioneers and not really knowing it.
Oh,
So
okay.
so
Doing
that'll
that
be
Friday night.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So
Okay.
let me look at my list here. What do we got? I haven't done my Cedar Point boyfriends yet, or my Rick's College Academy player boyfriends yet. Did I tell you at Rick's
Oh,
College I got the female Casanova of Academy award?
yes, you did.
Because over those few months I dated 5 guys. My teachers were really impressed. Like, wow, that girl.
Oh,
Did I talk about Larry Call yet? I don't think I have.
I don't think so. No.
And I've got Aaron Romney too. I
Yeah.
wonder if he's
Oh,
related to Mitt.
I have no idea.
I
I
don't
have
know
no
either.
idea.
So
So,
we've got Larry Call and Aaron Romney we can talk about.
okay.
And then I go into the Academy players guys. So we'll discuss one of those boys next week.
Okay. For our
All right.
millions of fans.
Yes, for our millions of fans.
So, all
But
right.
yeah, Dad wouldn't even let me leave the farm if I was wearing shorts. He made me put on pants or a dress, or I could not go down the driveway.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. He never said anything to me about anything I wore.
Yeah, well, he was watching me. If I stepped out of the house in shorts and like made my way to the car, nope, back inside, get changed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I've always been
Um,
pretty modest though, so
although I will say this, my daughters are perfectly modest because they take after their mom, and it's not like something that she enforces. Like, they're almost like more modest than she is. Like
right,
they're just horrified with anything that smacks of immodesty.
right.
And to me, it's almost over the top. Like,
Well, that's awesome
okay,
though.
girls, chill out a little bit. We don't have to look
Yeah,
like we don't have to look like pioneers every day here.
right.
But whatever. I
It's
don't get
better
too
that
involved.
way than the other way, Steve.
It's
I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
it's better that way than the other way.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't get too involved in that one. But all right. Well, hey, thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for sharing that. And
Hey,
we'll be
can you send me Ellen's address at the MTC because I want to send her a card?
yeah, I'll have Heidi get that over to you.
All right, sounds good.
So all right, we'll catch you later. Take care, everyone.
Yep. Bye, everybody.